Let's proceed from where we stopped. We built the mobile version of Radix as we wanted to work for React Native, and we've upgraded all of this. And previously, we tested it in such a way that it worked. It worked to an extent. It worked to allow us to be able to create all the components, port everything out. But then it didn't work perfectly well because and in the last video we realized that it didn't work exactly the way we wanted. That even though the all stuff was created, right? There was a bit of portability that we had. We were able to create all the components and everything, and it worked well. There was still something else we couldn't create. That was it. That was the first thing we noticed, and that was necessary because we, of course, this is vibe coded. It's not expected to be perfect. So after doing that yesterday, realized that there was a lot of things to change. The first thing I noticed was there was no errors, which I was quite impressed. But then it was not because there was no errors, because of the way we structured code. That means it gave us a way whereby there was no link because of the way we created the local state. But because I'm not using VS Code, which had its own linting style and all, we needed to go using to settings to configure the ID to be able to see the linting errors so that I can fix it. So currently the ID doesn't have like the linters I can configure the way I have it for VS Code, whereby we have the style int, right? And then from the settings, we have style int enabled to be true. But currently, we don't have that kind of configuration here, but I'm still going to go into the configuration to make that configuration work. Go for to search for the style int. Let's see if we have something like that. Here we do not have style int JetBrains, so that might be difficult to implement. But we have ESLint, we have TSLint, we have the JSint, we have the TS where is it? We have the TS lint also, which everything is currently available. But the fact is that it's picking it from the old configuration that exists, which is like the default that we've already configured based on our configurations from um, the TS file, the TS config file, the ESLint files also. So those were like not making it work as expected. So there's a lot of issues. What I'm trying to say, if you look at this, you will see these are issues, these are errors that we have. I haven't tried resolving this. This was done yesterday, very late yesterday. That was 2:06. That's 10:06 yesterday. I was still checking why it was not having errors. Then I tested the lint command myself and I realized that, oh, there was a bunch of errors that my ID was just not displaying simply because of the way we made the configuration. So that was done when I tried building. So if you look at what we have here, we have a lot of stuff here that was done. The whole TS config stuff, the package.json stuff. I simplified it because I need to simplify it. So then the idea is still not working because we didn't there. So for example, if I go to the component, let's say I pick the avatar component. Now the avatar component has issues, as I will show you. You see the first thing is you see it has theme styles. That's a that's a bug on this, but this doesn't show me anything. Right? So first thing we need to do is figure out a way to fix all of these errors because we need to. Now styles does not exist, and the question is why doesn't style exist? So that's first thing we need to fix. So this style sheet also is like an issue here. It's not supposed to be. I think I removed it yesterday. I'm not entirely sure. Right? Yeah, I removed it and I put it back just to see why it wasn't working. But then this is an error, right? Because as you can see, styles does not exist. You cannot find him styles, which is normal because I cannot use a style that I did not define. So if I'm defining style on 93, which is here, and the question is where is style coming from, I cannot find a declaration to go to and all of those things and stuff like that. So that means there's a lot of things that failed, but we didn't see it because of those things. So all my old talks of, oh, this thing worked well yesterday didn't really work as expected. So just pointing that out. So we need to fix all of these. A lot of errors. There's a lot of them. Like you can see, image cannot be used as a JSS component, which we have on line 109. And this will require a lot to fix, but obviously I'm not going to fix them. You guys know I'm not going to fix them. It's just still going to be fixed like this. This says cannot be used as a JSS component, which is strange because image is actually coming from Okay, type of image. Yeah, yeah. So I get the point. So type of image cannot be used as is not a valid DSX element. So type of image. So that's understandable. 910910912. This is not a type. Why is it expecting it as a type? So strange. But then, like I said, these are errors we need to fix, right? So the first thing I want to do is try to get it to work normally by making it work for the making the project display all the errors, right? Literally, so that we can use it that way. So two things. One thing we can do is to bring it out of because looking at this is the reason why it's working this way. Remember, we have a workspace.yaml file where we are using the workspace so that we say that making use of them, we can use them in the workspace entirely because they are all part of the workspace that we are working with because we have nested stuff that are working together. So now we are not using Radix themes and we're not using the apps playground. We're using the native and the native old, right? Literally, that's what we are working with. So in this case, if I install any of the packages, it's going to install for playground native, which is what is defined here, and which is here, and then the package is file. And then remember that playground native uses the workspace, which we defined in the package.json as well. So if you look at this place, you realize that it's in a workspace from here, which means it's going back by one, which means it goes from here to this place, it goes back again to this place, and then it references the packages, which is correct, and then picks the Radix UI themes native, which is perfect. So this is valid, right? So we need this so that we can reference Radix UI slash themes native in use this basically from here because this is the name we reference to this. So whenever we reference Radix UI slash Teams native, it simply means we are making use of the file that is here. And the only way this is possible is because we are using the workspace, right? If not, this will not be possible. So this is my understanding of this, but I don't know if this is not good enough or stuff, but this is the way I understand it currently. So the next thing to try to do here is to go to the playground native and try to fix this. So I want to be able to see the errors that are supposed to be seen here. For instance, this contains a lot of errors, but I can't see it, and I need to be able to see it. So two things that I want to do here. First of all, is to work on the lint as itself, right? I want it to work for me. I want it to be able to give me the linting errors that I expect. So configure inspections. Um, So I'm trying to just ensure that I see all the errors here that I'm supposed to be seeing, right? So I need to configure that to work. So it says, but everything is actually turned on by default. Like you can see the check marks, they are all checked. So it's supposed to be giving me the actual stuffs I need. Not all of them, but majority of them. So we have the code quality tools, which is very, very expected. That's why we see that the ES lint here should be working. It says report a discrepancy detected by the ES linter. Use severity from the configuration to which is all of this. Um, Additional rules directory. So currently there are no rules because I removed the ESLint file so that it won't fail. But for some reason, it's still using that. So I'm going to just set it to this. So it picks it itself because by this, it's going to use the nearest the ESLint package in the node modules directory and ESLint file. So that's what it's going to make use of. All right. So in this case, what we need to do, right, is to first check for the ESLint configurations that we have. So currently, I'm sure there's ESLint here. As you can see, there's a lot of it. ESLint, 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 blah 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 blah. So what I need to do is to two things: either remove them completely from the node modules, that's from the root node modules, or remove them from the themes node modules itself. But then that is subjective. So we can do this by removing it. There's no ESLint defined here, so I don't need that here. So if I check the package itself, do I have the ESLint here? I also don't have it here, but then I should have it somewhere. Probably it's inside the native themes playground. So let's check the playground to see if it's there. So in the playground, we have ESLint and ESLint config expo. So two things, I'm going to remove this, and then I'm going to rerun this pmpmi for the automatically we remove that from there, and then that's the ES link we do not want. But for me to do that, I'm going to first remove all of the node modules again because I don't want them there. I'm going to remove the node modules from the the team's native, and then the actual node modules also, which should be like the largest ones. Um, Hopefully, I just hope all the caches is removed that way, so we don't need to bother about it. So I'll remove the PMPM lock, so that doesn't bring back that thing. So what I'm going to do now is clear this, install this again. So it's going to reinstall for three of them. It's going to install for the playground. It's going to install for the React Native Radix UI themes native package, and to install the base for directory package or JSON as well. So you see, this is taking time because I deleted the log file, right? So that is what is happening here. So you can see there's no log file in the other ones. It's just there's no log file here, for instance. There's ESLint config here for the uh, just for the expo config, but that's the one we are using just for this use case. But I don't want it for the other ones, right? So just for that particular one. So we can install it once we get that working first of all. So let's test if this our implementation works. The first thing I want to check is why does this always lag whenever it installs? Slightly just messy. Just probably going to very very soon. Used to be better than this. It works well than this before. And had issues, but nowadays it's just messy. All right, so back to this. I want to check if it still installs all of those ESLint stuff. PMPM can be messy in those kind of situations. Yeah, it's still there. So I still have ESLint. I still have ESLint, which is installed, even though it's not coming from this. Maybe it's coming from another package. You need to check it out. Okay, from the Expo package, I believe. Yeah, that should be coming from there. Okay, so all right, so now let's test it out. Let's see if any of the components still no errors. Still no errors. How do I do this again? What's the next thing to do? Can I mark directory as I want to analyze this. Obviously, there are a lot of issues there. No retrospect. So I can find. You can see there's a lot of errors. 144 errors already. Good quality tools. JS int. There's a lot of them, but it's not just bringing them out. Of course, most of them are from the node modules, right? Which I could exclude the node modules as well. So all that we just do is to cancel it and try retrospecting this again, or just going to the component folder and inspecting the component folder itself. So this is supposed to make all these checks. Missing namespace, used import. All of these are checked already, so this should work. And then we have that for the general as well. GSS syntax, no strict mode used. I typically don't tamper with this stuff, like for any reason, because They're properly defined. Then having to mess it up can hurt you in many ways, mostly by messing up the entire thing. And this is the first time I'm having this issue with any of my projects. I usually do not, so but it's cool. It means I'm doing something different from what I usually do, which is actually true. Uh, so I'm expecting these general code style issues, undetermined statement, unnecessary, unterminated. Oh no, what did I do? Unterminated statement, yes. Um, okay, no, that's not necessary. Redundant braces, no. Nested function call, no. Code style quality. But I think this is actually useful if you are trying to learn how to code because it tells you what you should not do and what you should do. Undefined property assignments, turn on by default, TS linked, turn on by default, and code style issues, TS linked. Then JS int also. Um, yeah, so I just want to restart it. There's a lot of stuff not working based on the inspection. So I just restart the ID. Come on, just force quit this. All right, so I'm going to reopen that. Going to reopen the ID. I'm gonna close this. Okay, so no, don't install dependencies for me. That myself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this still doesn't show me the errors to inspect. No, don't give me this. I don't. Finally, looks like some errors are happening. Finally got it to show the errors. I don't know what I did because it hanged, so it didn't let me know what exactly happened. But I knew it was from that. So finally got it to show the errors that I've been expecting to show. So now the entire app should show the errors. Yeah, exactly. So having the red files helps you to know what to fix, which is cool. So finally, I can move on from this. So we need to now fix this one by one because now these are not the things we want to see, not the errors we want to see actually. So how do we resolve this? So we know there are a lot of errors. Like I said, if you run the links, it's just going to be a messy thing to work with. So that is what I do not want. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is a vibe coded project, right? Like I said, I'm vibe coding it. So I'm going to go back to the AI that is vibe coding this and I'll give it context and say, okay, so we were using Minimax yesterday, still going to go Minimax. So I'm going to say avatar.tss contains errors. Let's resolve the errors. So basically, I'm going to give you a bit of context. So So I'm going to give it more context by saying that we already implemented all of the phases in plan, just to give it a bit of context for the plan. But when I um, tested the code, okay, but testing the code reviews these errors, starting from what is happening? Where is this coming from? Starting from avatar, you will see that there are significant errors in the project. Can you resolve this? So before telling you to make any fix, right? Like always, I'm going to go commit all the files that I know are needed, especially with ESLint and everything that we just did. So I'm going to go here, add this to VCS, so that way we have a lot of other stuff. So you can see I removed the ESLint.js file yesterday, so I could get this error stuff. We can always add the ESLint file later on, but that is not the main thing right now. So what I'm going to do is just commit all of this, or to this also. I know this is just a directory and stuff, so I can just commit this since we. All right, so it's already giving me suggestions on how we're going to fix it. I'll just allow you to do what it wants to do. I'm not going to tamper with it. I'm going to commit this to the same directory since we are not changing the components yet. These are just basic stuffs like the playground itself and majorly the playground code changed, deleted, and stuff. I think, yeah. So I'm just going to commit this and I'll get that out of the way. So the next thing is to notice what to do next, right? So we need to decide and determine what's the next thing we should resolve here. So based on the issue, based on the fixes now that it's suggesting, it says it needs to check. So one of the things it saw here is some of the stuff on it, like the styles, right? It says several significant issues, import part issues in like 3 and 4, which is correct. We should be using the RM view, which is the new one that I created, which is fine. So I'm not going to fix this. I'm not going to fix it. I'll just tell it to continue with the fix and make everything work. So it already generated the correct code for me. This is what it should look like. But I don't know if it's still added all the comments for me. But I need the comments. I need the entire comment. So this way the comments are not generated, so I can't use that. So I'm just going to try fixing this because I need the comment as well. So there's no RMV from primitives, which is wrong. So that means from view, if I'm not mistaken, that's correct. From text, so this should be text. So those are the first two things we needed. Then the view here should be. All right, you know what? Let's just fix this. Let's fix it myself. So I'm just going to say the first thing we notice here is after defining all of those things, including the rest that was not giving issues before, it still doesn't give issues though. And I think the ESLint will cause it not to still run, but that is fine. So we already have our case statement, which is still the same thing, which is from default 1 to 5 for the avatar sizing. So the first thing we have here is the RM view, which then we have the styles. But the question is, where is the styles coming from? Let me see if you use style anywhere. View style, then platform. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to do this. Just going to let it do it so you can identify the issues itself. So I'm going to tell you to just proceed fix and try resolving it entirely because there's a lot of things not there. So currently this should be coming from here, right? Which for some reason this guy doesn't see it. So it should be styles, not style. Here should be styles. which you can see is coming from here. And then this changes from styles to, yes, this styles. So that's wrong for some reason. Styles is coming from a place that doesn't exist. All right, so I'm just going to wait for this to, so it's going to analyze the errors, it's going to try patching the errors, adding the non-necessary fixes. So yeah, this is fine. So this can be simplified by replacing this with this. I'll do that later. And we need the next piece to be the style, right? The styles now has been resolved by making this. Still need to understand where style is coming from. Oh, defined down here. So it wasn't defined before, so that's why. So we now have the styles defined now, but still something is wrong because now we have our image still complaining it's not assignable to this, which is weird. Why is image a form of type? That doesn't happen. That's so strange. So it's going to try running this to see if there's a way it can fix it. So it's going to go over it again little by little until it gets all the error resolved, which is the expected, right? Because it wants to fix all the errors. So something is actually wrong. First thing is this: if you have source and not image error, this should be coming from. It's going to fix it. Okay, so I'm still going to give it some of the fixes because it's done with this, but not what is expected. There are still some other things that need to be resolved. First things first. So comparing this with what it generated to see what you did, right? So one of the things he did was export the avatar, added the fallback, which is correct. Uh, but saying avatar dot fallback. Oh, you already did display name here. So avatar dot fallback does not exist on type. So this basically is just trying to still resolve it. Remember, we are still coding this. It's not something too crazy, but eventually we need to code to make everything work. So currently it's not going to work because we have these errors. So until we resolve all the errors, we can't get it past that to even demo it. So he says, I'm trying to fix this issue now. So he says, let's just allow you see if it's going to fix it. Um, Okay, so what first thing he added was to modify this by adding the interface for the avatar component, extending it to use this, which I'm not really sold on. Then add a display and a fallback to it. And then using that here, but it still fails even with that. So still doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is in this case, this, like I said, doesn't really work for existing stores. I'm going to change this to use GLM 4.7 and use that to fix this issue. So I'm still going to give you this issue now that we know that that is an issue. But then let's start with this image issue. So I'm going to tell it to fix this by fix code in current context. So give me the code, provide the corrected code, explain what was fixed and why. So it's going to give me an explanation and a fix for the code, which is what I'm expecting it to do. So it's going to make the necessary fix, suggest the way to improve it and possibly improve it itself. And then we see what is going to work. So this is wrong. Supports this. One of the things I realized is that Minimax is not so good at mobile development, I think. Because when I was checking yesterday and I was trying to fix one of the errors it had, I realized that it was not really, should I say, wasn't the best at using that. It actually made a lot of mistakes before, and yeah, that still happened consistently over time. I realized that didn't work as I expected, so which was a problem. But this is the complaining. Image cannot be used as a GSS. This. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this to Klein. Klein has a way of representing errors better so that it can use that as a way to fix it. What one more thing we did yesterday was to try creating this as a native application to test it out. So we are still testing this. So if all these errors are successfully resolved, we can move past it to now test it on the mobile app to be sure it works as expected. All right, so it's thinking of how to fix it. Obviously, there's a very weird error because this is correct. In my opinion, this is correct. But then for some reason, it's still not working as expected, which is very still weird. Why? Because using image here should work as expected, really work. Because image cannot be used as a JSS component. And I know that's because of a type compatibility issue. So it's probably taking it from a type issue because we're using React Node, I guess. I probably will have used it as an element. Really should have used it as an element. Yeah, but then I won't tamper with it until it's done. Let me not mess it up. So basically, this just boils down to how I understand TypeScript. Because in this, all these are just TypeScript modifications, right? Adding proper typing to it and all. This GLM is complaining. Just going to get to KMK too. All right, now what? I'll use it to proceed. Proceed anyways. Let's see what it does. Yeah, this is it. KMK just going to cancel this. Don't fix that. So I'm going to go to a new task. Just get that out of the way. I'm going to use separate mode to fix this. But before I want to try something, right? I have this free codex implementation I can use from JetBrains. It's free for now. So if you guys in JetBrains, codex is free. So I'm just going to give it this file. I'm going to say something like okay, let me say this file has issues. Um this based okay, for context, this this component was created based on the implementation in plan. Let me look for the plan file. But there are certain issues that prevent the file from certain TypeScript issues. Okay, let me see TypeScript issues that needs to be resolved while still ensuring that this project I'm asking this question. I want to see if it can try resolving it because of issue. I'm because this. I'm not trying to fix it. I'm not trying to jump in, start making changes. I want to see how far they can go. Of course, like I did yesterday, I'll still come in to make changes wherever it doesn't work well because you don't expect them to get everything at once. This case, they can definitely. Yes, it says report this and this. Import declaration conflict with local definition variant view. It's crazy. So we have our review here, defined here, and we have things we need to change. So let me go back to Avatar to see the changes this guy made. So let's see the changes. The changes was he removed this, created it as a type, the React forward ref exotic component. Okay, so like I said, it's just the typing issues, right? It's just the typing modification. If it can fix the type, all well and good. It just depends on how good AI is with typing. That's the fix for this. For this case, it's still failing because it doesn't really work. It added a bunch of stuff to it. It fixed the fallback issue, which is fine, but it didn't fix all the issue like this one. Yeah, so you see there's an export here, which is here. So why exporting it like this again? Yeah, crazy stuff. But most of them are not suggesting what that should look like. So certain things needs to be changed. In this case, if I go back to the view here, what was the error here? Properly display does not exist on view props. So view props is coming from extend layout props, which is just an extension of layout props, matching props, and all of these things. What of the actual view props itself from React Native? Where is this coming from? So this is just messy. So I'm just going to pass it to this guy to try fixing it again. So I'm going to say there are some some of okay. The code seems the plan from plan.md seems not completed. Can we complete? Can you check what has been done and what has not been done and make the proper fixes? So this is me asking you to make fixes, right? Because there's a lot of issues here. You can see a lot of things are not even accessible, not available, which is a problem. First thing I was expecting is where is utils coming from? Like, where are you pulling utils from? Definitely, I know this is coming from here, which is the props. This is what it's trying to make use of, which is understandable. But then the import is just plain wrong because the import doesn't exist. It should probably be something like this. And then you have maybe another one, use it use like this. And that should have probably resolved the issue, right? So we have something like this. This should have solved all the problems. And then, but we use this, but we still have issues here like clean those styles, where is themes coming from? Theme is this. Does it have styles? Does it have this? We don't know. Then you say this should have given you things like colors and styles. So there's probably no style in there. So which is already wrong. And then we have things like view style and all of those other things. So that's me saying I'm going to come in and fix this. Like I said, I didn't want to do this before, but then I still need to come in to fix things because you don't expect AI to get everything at once, which is understandable. So border horizontal width does not exist on view style. So for what's now to go and check is what is the view style? View style here is just the props coming from view style itself. That's something coming from React Native, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So it's coming from React Native styling itself. So it has a lot of stuffs you want to use. So this extend flex style, style iOS style, transform style, which is just something we are trying to use. So style itself allows us to be able to use um what am I trying to fix? Okay, yeah, this border horizontal width. So border horizontal width does not exist on view style. That's what I need to be sure about. So border width. Okay. So I think we need to change that also. So border it should have like autocomplete. Border end width, top width. So there's nothing like border width and border vertical width. Then there's nothing like border horizontal color. Okay, so far so good. Succeeded in removing all the errors. So basically, there should be a better way to get this. We could have just used this and then to fix the error for us without using the whole path tracking, like doing things like going path tracking or doing something like absolute relative path or absolute or relative path. We don't need all of those things. So basically, what we need in this case was just one of these two. So I've succeeded in fixing those errors, one of them. There's still a lot of errors we've not fixed, which we're supposed to. But as you can see, there's a lot of them. And what he's doing here is quite understandable, right? We are trying to create a more like a complete UI set or UI framework set from the existing React Native interface. So what we are trying to do is we have the layout props in this case, which gives us all the stuffs we need. All the stuffs in the sense that we have the view style, the view, everything that's to do with view style basically. And view style is a lot of all stuffs that we just checked in terms of the border use and all the colors and all the backgrounds, all of those things. So we're extending them from the flex styles and do you understand? So we have all of these things. So in this case, what he's doing here is creating a layout prop from there, which I think it shouldn't be doing, right? Because in this case, like I showed you guys the view props just now, it's picking it from so from view styles generally, there's a flex style that allows you to use. And the flex style already has its own props too, which we can. But then this are just like, for instance, you can see flex prop types. So they are coming from React Native itself. So it could have just used something like this directly, which is still doing, right? Because all it's doing here is just taking it from view style, then display, then flex style, then view style, then flex direction, because view style is extending flex style itself and then making use of it that way. So it's more like it's rewriting the entire prop style that we have here, which there's a way we can get it without needing to rewrite it, but it's fine for now. This is vibe coded, like I said, so we don't need to make any change. Now this is making changes already, as you can see. It's using use context. Okay, I'm not going to check that for now. You can see it's adding files 45, 32, 36, distance, this. So one thing we need to check is that from the view style, is there something like flex flow? Because you see this is filling. So let's check why this is filling. If I check view style here, this is actual React Native standard library style sheets file. About, I don't want to go here there. Let me just check it from this option we have here. So flex flow is from flex style, obviously. So if you check from flex style, what do we have? We have flex direction. We don't have something called flex flow, especially when it comes to native. We have it on the web, right? But we know that most things on the web do not exist on native. So things like flex flow does not exist. So we can't use flex flow. And if you look at it, it says shorthand for flex, grow, shrink, and basis. So we don't have that on the mobile. So we can't use that on mobile. So one thing we can use on mobile is probably two things. We can either remove it completely, which is going to be the best approach. Why? Because it doesn't exist. We have flex, which is what we can just use, but flex hasn't been defined here. Then we ask the flex grow also, which also has been defined. Shrink basis, flex flow doesn't exist. Flex flow is the shorthand. We don't have the shorthand when it comes to mobile. So one thing we can do is remove this completely because we do not need it. So these are me making changes to some of the stuffs in the AI has done. And if I'm not mistaken, this should be done with all these fixes. So this is Codex making changes and stuff like that. So one more thing we can do is we can have the break text break strategy. We don't have that basically because this is from textiles, right? And we know textiles contains all the stuff from text that you can use on mobile. So what did I just do? Okay, so we have that. And one more thing is we have all of this also. Border horizontal which does not exist on mobile. Vertical horizontal which doesn't exist. So we have to remove those two. The same thing with border horizontal color does not exist. So we have to remove these two. But like I said, we are still creating this. It's just the way you can see a lot of style being defined and stuff. And for different things like the flat list props and all of those things, which also contains some of its own errors and issues which we can fix, but we can't fix all at once. So then we have the unscroll drag begin. But basically, these are just stuffs here. I'm not the one writing this. Like I said, this is all AI vibe coded. So let's see what it does. So let's go back to the avatar to see if this has been fixed. So far, so good. Nope, still there. We still have the error because it's complaining of type image cannot be used as a valid GSX component, which I'm thinking I know where it's coming from because we're using the React node, not the React elements. This always happens when you do stuff like that. So I'm going to use this as I'm using the shorthand to replace this. So what I'm going to do first of all is to replace this to not use, okay, first thing, Codex has replaced everything from using the actual value to using unknown. I'm going to replace this with elements, and I'm also going to replace, where do we have React node? Fall back to, so where else do we use fall back here? So fall back here, we have this here, then we have the value here, and the RM view itself takes in forward ref of this. We need to remove this too. We don't have this. We don't have that, and then we need to remove this also. First thing we do not need here is what are we passing here that we don't need. So I'm going to look for React node. So this automatically, yeah, it fails because we have that. So changing that already gives us this. So which is a problem. So we have that because we are using that as a child here. So what's the problem now currently? It's giving us, says number through this is not assignable to React element type of this. Big problems. So we can tend to just remove it and leave it back as it is, but that's not still the fix. We need to have a way to fix it eventually, which I'm going to come to. But like I said, I'm not the one fixing this. It's vibe coded. It's supposed to be expected to be vibe coded, which doesn't work as expected yet. So let's look at the changes this made. So for the aspect ratio, some things we added. Aspect ratio.tsx. Why is it creating this stuff? Was it not there before? I thought it was there. Where did you create it? Did you really create new elements? I can't find it. Let's see. Where did you create this? Radix native theme component utilities. Okay, all right, that's fine. They were missing. I agree they were missing because I didn't see them there when I was creating it, which are the ones in utilities, which was created here. So we have the aspect ratio, scroll area, and version. I'm talking about fixing the errors that were not there. So we created a whole bunch of stuff that we needed, but it didn't fix some of the errors we wanted it to fix. So which is fine. I still wanted to fix some of the errors. For instance, fixing some of the errors. I fixed most of the one in the view, but it doesn't fix the ones that we have here. So I'm still going to pass it this, and I'll tell it to fix this error. So this is me passing it in and telling it to AI actions find problems from this code. Yeah. So I was using free version of Codex, like I said. So I'm not going to bother about that. We are using free AI tools before. So I'm going back to the free AI. This was expected not to be expensive. I'm not saying you should go and do a $200 plan to get this working, or maybe of Codex or of Claude Code or of Claude itself. So that you can use it. Nah, this is just using a free plan to see what you can push with the free AI models. So this was what I was using here before was just the free plan, which I believe has expired now. But then you can see it's suggesting stuff to me like I can suggest a guarantee fallback version. Potential issue with this is this, width is 100, this is this, can use zero size, blah blah blah. This is this. That is not the error actually. That is not the error. The error is actually this. Let me copy this. Let me copy this as the error, then paste it in and see if you can resolve it. And say things like so can it resolve this error? But I don't think I have enough credit for this. I'm always almost okay. You know what? I'm not going to fix this. It's just going to be a complete. I'm doing that for my commit messages. So I'm going to paste that here and I'm going to pass it to KPK2, which is free on KiloCode. So if you're using KiloCode, check it out. KiloCode is the latest model that came out this month, just last week. So it's still pretty new and it works fine. So you can check it out and that should work for you. So back to all of this fixing all the issues. So there are a lot of components we've already ported that AI has done, right? So you can see we have things like avatar, badge, card, database. So basically, going back to Radix themes, you can see some of the components we've already resolved. We've fixed or we've created most of these components, like the box, the layout components has been created, typography has been created, and you can see it here. The layout has been created, typography created, utilities was what Codex just created for us, which are stuff you see here, visually reading, portal, accessibility icons, and reset and stuff. So we have the primitives also created for us, which are some of the ones in this place, but we don't really need the primitives though, because we already have most of them working. So we have things like the layout also working. The layout are these guys up here, which are box, flex, grid. All of them are created. So most of the stores have been created, but then they are as expected. Most of them are buggy. They are not going to work as expected. You can see the errors, list of errors here, which is expected. So we are going to have to fix those little by little. Say conflict between this, analyze the version conflict, overriding this, downgrading routes, this. The monorepo routes has nothing to do with no, that's not what I'm asking you to do. All right, just fix this stuff for me. Fix this issue. Fix note. I'm going to go back here. Delete all of this. Fix this issue. The types returned by render are incompatible between the types of this and this. Is it because I'm using React 19 with one of them? I think it's correct. So I'm using React 19 in the actual test file, which tests app that I'm using. And I don't think that's what I want to do here. So say update root package to V18 for monorepo consistency, and which is correct. So I'm going to go back here to change this, which is the package of this one here. Should be using React 18. I'm using 19 currently. But I want it to work with React 19, the entire thing to work with React 19. So React Native 0.7.3, expect React 18 types. This errors picking up React 19 types from the root and compatible with the native image component. Okay, that's fine, but I still prefer React 19 actually. So that can work. Question is, can I upgrade to React 19 all the packages, the React versions for this monorepo to use React 19 instead? So that's my question. I don't want to use 18. I want to use the latest one. Now 18 is fine. There's nothing wrong with 18, but I just want to use 19 going forward because it's relatively new. It's not as if we do support like maybe make it backward compatible. I think 19 is just all good enough for my use case actually. And then using this from Radix themselves, because we got this from, if I'm not mistaken, this was gotten from Radix, right? And from Radix package itself, I think they use 19 now. So I'm just trying to stick to the consistency. So this is the React Radix theme that we're trying to port to our own use case. So we have package.json, which is version 19. In this case, yeah, it's using 19. So I'm sticking to version 19 going forward. So I'm not making that. So let me check the React Native and Expo version, blah, blah, blah. All right, so what I'm going to do is go back to the native one, which is the one inside the React UI themes native library or directory, and then update the package.json to React 19, basically. So this is using greater than or equal to 18. So I'll just change it to using 19. Same version as the one in the base package, which is this. So I'm changing it to use this. If I'm changing the whole thing, if I'm not mistaken, React is okay. Dev dependencies just use this types of React 19. So I can use the types of React 19 as well. Yeah, so I'll just copy this DOM and but we're not using the DOM. We can't use the DOM actually, so we can't use the DOM, so that's wrong. So I'll just use this to the latest is 7.3. That should be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and install this for the themes native package, which is here. CD packages pmpmi. Yeah, so I don't need to install this, which I think is correct. So I'm going to remove that. React Native is using version 7.3. 8.3 is the latest for React Native. I'm still going to leave without one. So I'm going to reinstall this so that the one I removed is going to be removed automatically. So it says 13.2 introduces potentially breaking changes. You can use your caution, blah, blah, blah. It has been mistakenly released. Wow, really? Okay, so I'm going back to a smaller version then if it's mistakenly released. So 14 is the latest one. 14 is RC. Should I use RC? Should I use this one? I don't even know which one to use right now. So I'm just going to stick to, okay, you know what? I'll stick to 13 points, still 13.1. It's fine. So PNPMI again. I'm still going to, okay, so everything is fine. So let me go back to, I'm going to close this. 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 I'm going to go back to my avatar DSX file, which is where I'm trying to fix. So yeah, it was correct. So the issue has been fixed. The type has been fixed now. So that's so one of the issues has been fixed. We still have one more issue to go, which is this about the style. It says props view is not assignable to view style. Undefined is not assignable to this. Yeah, so style is coming from here. We are passing in style from here, which is understandable, or which this is what we had before. It was properly tagged before we started using unknown. We used any before. Now we are resorting to using unknown, and then we have the child to be proper avatar props, which was gotten from here. So I think that's fine. One thing I don't like here is the fact that I'm having the props already exported here, which now I'm having also down here. So that's the big problem. The fallback props also exist from here. And now I'm exporting the type here, which I think is unneeded at this point. So one more thing to fix is passing this error here. So I'm going to tell it to, you know what, I'm going to pass this error here. I'm going to pass this error here. So I'm going to fix this. I said I have installed I've upgraded the package. Let's resolve this new error. So this is me giving it the new error to resolve. So it's going to use the new error, hopefully resolve the error based on what we're trying to do. So the interesting thing is we are still trying to work on having this work, right? And this is me trying to just still resolve the proper stuff, which is fixing the issues, getting it to fix the issues on its own. So there's still a lot of issues we need to fix. There are about, if I'm not mistaken, this is how many components? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7 components in just one of the folder. The other components are like 10. This is 11 components here. So that's already 18. This is 6 or 5. That's already 23. And there's this one 3. That's already 26, right? So we have to fix 26 components. Now, most of them are not giving the errors, but then if I click on it, I'm sure there are still errors in most of them. Yeah, as you can see, errors, errors, errors. Now, this is still the same thing as having the props here because we've already imported it. Why do I have the same type exported again? So that is a problem, and we don't want that to happen. So I believe that is one of the issues we are trying to fix here, and that's not what we want. So, like I said, we are going to have to fix all the errors. So now this is I'm using Kimigato, which is still free, and Kilo. Like I said, Kimigato is still new, and Kilo gives you Kilo Code is just a plugin here. It has its own ID you can download also and have access to the free versions. So these are like state of the art models. So if you have like coding and you don't want to pay $200 or $20 per month for using all of this high end stuff, this is also good for you if you don't have complex projects to work on though. But feel free to check it out. Right, they work. So Avatar is almost fixed. So it's giving us a way to fix it. Say, I see a potential issue in view, which, like I said, we need to go back to view to fix it. It says in line 17, it uses, which is here, it uses this, right, in the interface. Line 28 defines a local type, which is a problem. So now it's using this for the style prop, but here is defining a type here, which is different. So this is a generic type definition. So the local type might conflict with React Native style prop. Let me check this to confirm. So you say now I understand there's a local stuff here. The local is incompatible with React Native style. Type is stricter than this. So it's clear you want to switch to this because we need to, I think, remove it. And fix is clear in this. We need to import type from this instead of defining a local type, which is perfect. So I'm going to allow it import it. Like I said, there's already a style prop in React Native, which is what should have been used. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to allow it to do this stuff. So now, as you can see, Kimigato is quite knowledgeable in how the latest stuff works. Normally, this is what there was this thing I fixed the other time when I went to the props here when I was fixing this. As you can see, it's actually imported the view style here, but there's still a style that can be imported. I'll show you guys when it is done importing it. So those are ways you can use it. So far so good. We've been able to create all the components, but there's just minor issues that can be resolved. So once we can go past the issues, we are almost done with the well, I won't say we're almost done, but we still need to debug it. But it's quite fast because if I was doing this on my own, the timeline for this when I gave it to AI to check was going to be 6 months, 6 to 8 months. If I was working alone, if I was working with someone or with people, it would probably take us for 3 to 4 months. But now using AI, I've been able to beat it down to 3 days and then fixing issues. So that's like extremely interesting, extremely cool having to do that with AI. So that's one of the fixes, benefit of using AI for stuff like this. But we are still not done. We are still moving. So we have to keep getting it to resolve all the issues until we are done. So what he wants to do now is to fix the style prop, right, by importing it from React Native. Are you doing this or should I do it just fast? So you should import the style prop. So style prop is already here. Why is it not using it then? I think I misread that. So style prop is already here. So type this is what it should use. So what I've just said is show me fix you want to make. Okay. No, let me allow it this thing. So I'll allow it to edit the file. Basically going to edit one thing. First of all, it's going to remove the style prop you have here, which is fine. Like I said, we already have that style prop available here, right? But now we are importing it from React Native, not from the one here. The one here is just using this, which is what I was complaining about. You should be using it from the one coming from React Native itself. So we don't need to define it ourselves. That's what should have been done from props. Props does not need to be redefined because we already have it coming from React Native. Why it's doing that again, I don't know. But that is AI. We have to go with it. That's what I was complaining about. We don't need the props here. So if I was the one doing this, I won't even go with this. All I need to do is import it as just like one line, 1 or 3, 4 lines to import all the style props from React Native itself because the style prop itself, this style type you see here, contains all the other stuff you might need. So if I go to style props, for instance, you can see here, it's completely just a type of whatever you need from register types to recursive arrays and blah, 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 and all of those things. But I'm not talking about that, but then it's we can use that. So, but this is not done yet. I'm sure there's still one more thing it needs to fix from the views, which is this guy. So hopefully you can resolve that fix. Let me go to our avatar to see if it's actually fully fixed. Oh, finally. So we successfully fixed the issue from the avatar.tsx file. So one out of like almost 50 or 60 plus components. We have 60 plus components that we need to fix. So if I run this, it's going to just echo the that's what needed. So then going to view, let's try fixing this error. So I'm going to go to client and paste this error back to client and go back to client and save, add this here. So give me a comprehensive error, then paste that into this place and say, no, don't worry, there's no need pointing that out. Say, can we fix this error also? So one more thing I want to ask it is the props here, right? Now that we've established the fact that we can use the style props coming from React Native, and we do not need to define our own props. It's not needed. My own analysis is not needed. I've not gone through the entire code, but based on the way I've seen it, we don't need to define the entire thing again because we are basically just fetching it from React Native itself, which you can see from here at the beginning here, we're fetching from view style, from flex styles and all. So which we do not need to do on its own because the view style already is a combination of is extending all the other styles. So redefining it, I feel is just unnecessary at this point. But the AI we use, that's the understanding it has. So I'm just going to go with what you did. And then we're going to try and resolve and add other stuffs to it, which is fine, all well and good. So if it can successfully resolve this, we've resolved two components. We've resolved the starting with the avatar component, right, which is this, is resolved successfully, which is fine. I'm happy about that. But still, one thing I have issues with here is okay, not really a problem, but this is fine because it's a custom element, so we need to define the props. That's perfectly okay. One more thing we need to do is for the badge also, we need to do the same thing. First of all, I'm going to replace this with this so it looks more like what we defined. So then what we have here also is, okay, this is a basic issue of typing also because we can't really get a type. Basically, what we are dealing with now is just TypeScript issues. So if you are not really familiar with TypeScript, this is going to haunt you badly. So in this case, we've exported this here. Why are we exporting it again? I'm trying to understand the reason for this. Like, why do we have two stops here? Or basically, we don't need to export this. Use it like this, and then you should solve the issue. Or we have this here, then we fix this one by having this. Then it says accessibility status is not assignable to this. So the accessibility for badge should be menu none, which is coming from React Native, which is fine. So we need to change it to role. The role for this has to be, I don't know. I'm not defining the accessibility type. It can be done in soon. So we're going to remove that. Accessibility for badges. What's the accessibility type for badges? To be honest, let me check it out. What do we have for badges? Is it an alert? I probably will have left it as an alert. Or yeah, accessibility badges for badges. Accessibility type for badges should be an alert because it's not really an alert per se, but it still alerts you about something. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it as an alert though, because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's not switch, it's not tab, it's not timer. Yeah, I will leave it as none. But a badge is just telling you what you have. Okay, but basically leave it as none. Doesn't matter. So that should clear the error. So two errors fixed. What other one do we need to fix? Here we say we have theme dot colors, dot gray, dot dark. So the theme is coming from the use theme. The use theme is the one we defined. Yeah, it's one of the themes we defined so we can make use of. So to access the current theme also, and we use that here to get the theme. So theme is coming here as this. Okay, I think we have this, which is correct. We have this, which is correct. But this is a color tokens and getting the type of name. Say add unknown to it because, but this is fine. So that's not the problem. This is should be the problem. Color scale and record, lights, comma unknown, or this. Declare property theme. Okay, so all of these are missing from the color scale. Oh, wow. Okay, so colors have a gray, and gray dot has a dark, which is correct. Wow. All right, the color scheme is quite large. I was not expecting AI to be able to create this much color profile. So I was able to create this interesting color profile, which works completely. It's missing the following properties from type: color scale, darks, contrast, track. Okay, let's see. Let's see of color scale. Um, nah, that doesn't look like it missed anything. It's properly defined. Yeah. So it's defining that of dark, and dark contains other colors. Oh, yeah, I need to define which of them. Yeah, I think I understand what you were saying now. Yeah, string is not is not assignable to that. Hmm. So we have the color. Okay, this is correct because that this is just the same thing as color scale. So color scale defines that automatically. The color tokens is different, but that is correct because we are getting the dark version of the gray. Says missing from this different property theme. I've messed up this thing. I've added something to it. What did I add to it? Let me see. Theme. No, I'm adding that to it. So color tokens here. Gray color is this. Passing color is this. Mauve is the default, which is fine. Is dark as theme the colors the gray the dark. Hmm. So we are returning a color scale type. Yeah, so that's correct. That I'm trying to understand this. So if the return value from here is a color scale type, and I'm returning a color scale type from here, which means dark is a color. Why is gray correct and dark is not correct? Exactly. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. I get it now. So this is this. So what I could have done is say as I can't use color scale. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's not going to work. Yeah, nah, that doesn't work. So I can't do that. We see a type of color scale though, but it's not really a type of color scale because you're using this. And this is a type of, except to move that out for itself, that's 1 to 12, having a number, a string type. That's uh, I don't want to, I don't want this. Okay, this is fine. I will come back to fix this one. This shouldn't be much of a problem. We'll come back to that because now this is fixing. Let's see. So because this requires me just fixing the type. The reason is because if you go to the dark, dark has a type of is just an object like this that takes in a key value of yeah, that takes in a key value of just the come on, thought you were done. All right, so I was explaining that takes in this. Where is it again? So that takes in this or that returns this key value type, right? The object type. But we have to return a color scale as the object. So if you go back to the badge itself, the object we are returning from here is of type that object of is that type of object which we have, which is what we need. In this case, just a subset of the color scale, which is correct. It's still correct, but mhm. So this is missing from it, and that is why. Uh, so if you go to the dark for gray, for instance, because you know that gray is a type of color scale, and how do we know that? If I go to gray here, you can see it's a type of color scale. So except you have something or something like that, we can define something like gray dark. type of color scale. So if I do that, that means automatically the same way I have of color scale, gray dark defined somewhere here, which makes it automatically working. But that will not still work because here we have gray or dark. This is gray, which returns this, so that's fine. But if I define this here, then it doesn't work. I still need to find a way to return the dark colors automatically because the color scale here works. It works. It works. It works. It works. It works. How do I ensure this? I need us to do the key type of stuff as scale of something. Color scale. A scale of no, no, this is not it. I need us to do something like that. Just type of themed or colors. Scale of type of scale is okay. Yeah, that, but this is fine because the same way we have the as unknown here is simply the same way we work. I can say as unknown and as unknown as something. You know what? That's fine. The best way will have just been to fix this one way or the other by using this to still be this and then all right, that's fine. What I will have done here, color scale will have been the light, give you a color. The light will give you a color of this type. The dark will also give you a color of that same type. Then we can use that. So here we have gray here to be something like for two different type gray light stuff. I understand why it's doing it this way, but that would have been my approach though. Safety. All right, I think we're good on this aspect. So if I'm not mistaken, we are fully done avatar complete. We are done with view, which is also complete. And yeah, that's fine. So two of it has been completed successfully from starting with display. So I'm going to close the one we're not done yet. So display has been done. Avatar is fixed. Badge is not fixed. I'm going to just tell it to see if it can fix badges. Uh, yeah, that is me trying to. Okay, so can you also resolve this? So I'm going to tell you to resolve that, see if you can resolve it. So that way you successfully resolve avatar badge. Let's see card. Resolve this before I guess don't tell you to resolve it as so that is new or not defined. Okay, so card style is what? Style is this. And footer has to define sheesh, not the same thing again. Okay, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to tell it to do it. So this should fix this one. Then theme here is cannot find declaration. Yeah, because it's not defined. Oh, man, it's just worse. How about I do this? How about I use an orchestration to just get it to resolve all the errors? This is what I was referring to when I do is way smart when it comes to learning how to go between and get what to display, what to show. So which is cool. So in this case, if you look at this, you can see that we have the way it is actually defined here. You see we have you see that we have something like this. the way it's read, the way to understand your code base, right? So it says it's related to color scale, which is actually true. The first thing I will do also as a developer is to check the color scale and say, oh yeah, this is what is expected. This is what I'm expected to see. And that's literally the same thing it's doing as well. So that is cool. And that's what we need to check. So it's looking at the color scale and it's trying to get it to work as expected. So that is fine. But let's see if you can read to understand it because this is what you need to check. You need to check the types, understand the color scale, how it works, and then decide how it's going to work with it. Resolved. It's not something to yeah. So it just boils down to the understanding of type and type in TypeScript. Basically, it pains times. But if you understand these things, AI are not do that. This as much as we may think AI is good in TypeScript, not entirely. Yeah, that is also a problem most times. All right, so let's see the issue. It says the fix is to return the full color scale, not just the inner variant. Get color scale returns this, but online 60 is very good understanding, which is correct. This let's see if you can work in though. Okay, let's see. He wants to switch to code. So tell me how you want to resolve this first. So I'm just asking it to tell me how he wants to resolve it. And yeah, I know it's a code issue. I know it's a type issue, right? So he wants to switch to fix the color scale type. But I'm also skeptical because once he misbehaves with the type, it's going to affect all the other components. Because the color scheme that we are using here, in terms of the color scale, is used extensively across the code base because we use it for every component. Because every component has the same type color. So if it tells me how it wants to do it and I read it through and I see it makes sense, then I'll say, yeah, go ahead with it. So it says instead of returning the inner dark scheme, which is incomplete, return the full color scale object. Hmm. Okay. So the idea is instead of doing this, because the color name itself is to get the theme.colors, right? The theme.colors in this case is going to return a color token case. So it says that something then instead of returning the inner light dark switch, just return the full scale. But then how do I get dark to work with it? Because I want to get this. If it's light, I want to get. So it says this returns the color scale, the complete color scale object with actual visual properties, including the nested dark for dark mode, accessed later in the code. But let me see where it's using this though, because this is color scale, right? Color scale uses 9, 1, and 2. Now this is great. This is exactly what I'm trying not to do. Because if it is light, it's going to return the value as a color scale. So my next question is, so how do the other part of the code that handles light and dark mode variants at Procel get affected? So because it needs to understand that some other code base will be some other aspect of the code logic will be affected. For instance, how would this be affected? Use of color scale. Let's say in line 118, because here I'm using the is dark value here, and this dark is coming from this. It's coming from here. Okay, yeah, that doesn't really matter though. It doesn't really affect it now that I think about it. Because if I'm returning this, the color scale, and I'm returning this here, the color scale is going to determine automatically whether it's dark mode or light mode. Because that's why I'm defining it here that if it is high contrast, show me something like this. If it is not, return is dark, which is like the normal is dark color. The normal is dark color is this one. So the other thing is if it is Yeah, exactly. So this is it. So now you understand what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so these are the fixes we need to make across board. Just little fixes, but it's just all of them are just coming from. I don't know why he's rewriting flat list. Data list and flat list are two different completely stuff. Come on, why? Oh no, I definitely cannot finish this video today. But what I'm going to try to do is I will go back to refactor the entire code base using more a newer model to rewrite most of the components by fixing all this because most of the issues are just the same now. They are just issues that has to come from things like the type, exporting the type after exporting the interface, the same names, exporting the or having to do with the type issue, generic typing when necessary, and some other stuff like defining style when it's not needed. So there's just basic fixes that needs to be modified. So if you can successfully get that done, then maybe in the next part of this series, this episode, we can completely fix this. Well, who knows? It's possible. So yeah. So but so far so good. We have all the components already done. We have our we have our test application now but there's that we need to fix the so once we have them, some issues from there are done successfully. We are just trying to fix all of them. Then when we can fix that, we can now come back and say we are done with this. But the beauty of the books, this is supposed to look extremely similar to how our Radix component is going to work. So in this case, it's going to work similar to something like this. How does this currently work in terms of buttons and all? We are making sure it works exactly the same way. So in this case, buttons have different variants, right? They have different colors. This is what we are trying to replicate, and even the eye contrast property too. So I don't guarantee this is going to work once. Nah, it's far from it. But significant if I was feeling it myself and it would take me like 6 months to work on. Without doing this, it can work on its own. Guarantee that. So yeah, this is what we have. I don't like the fact that I'm waiting for one model to fix all the issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick another model. I'm going to pick another task and tell it to fix all of it automatically. Just sp- span through all of them and just fix in parallel. I don't know if the model can do that, but yeah, it's not bad. There's no accent color here, which we need to create. This for the checkbox though. So, but one of the interesting ones from what we've done here is are the layouts. You can see the layout doesn't have much issues. They have much errors, just few, but not much. So, component prop ref. So one of the problems we have for this are just basic errors like box style complaining says property flex bases are incompatible. It's not definable. It's unable to type dimension value or undefined. String is not unable to dimension value or undefined, which is what I need to fix. I also definitely need to fix that because truly it's not the same. So we need to get that working 100%. And let's see. It's using ViewStar. ViewStar is coming from this. So it's actually using the ViewStar from React Native itself, which is cool as a type. So it's properly imported, which makes sense. So if you use this view style, why do you use the other view style from the other places? I'm trying to understand this. Just messy code base right now. so inconsistent, which is normal. AI cannot produce consistent code bases. We know that by now. But it's cool. Still cool. Makes my work faster. So fixing this box style now is complaining of things like flex basis. Is flex basis, does flex basis even exist? Number string number undefined, which is coming from the box definition, which is coming from the box props, which is coming from, yeah, this. So, but what we need to fix here is we need to go to view style and fix the flex. Yeah, I'm going to here to fix the flex basis dimension value. Dimension value is, yeah, something like this. So we can get dimension value from there. So we go back to box props. We need to fix this. Instead of using these numbers, we use dimension value. We import that as a type from React Native. I think this should be a type, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, no errors. Yeah, no errors. So I think this is fine. I think I'm correct. It should be a type. So now this should fix the issue from box. We should not have the issue again, but it might still complain because, yeah, the animated values. Okay, this is a separate error. They say flex bills are incompatible. This. Flex base is still incompatible. This takes flex style takes it from flex base. So they're going to be undefined. So we should have another error entirely. Height compatible with dimension value undefined. Height width should be the same thing. Dimension value should be name number also that. Okay, so height and width should be the same thing. Should be dimension value undefined. So the problem I have with this is why is it redefining the box, right? Like since we know a box is just a view, do we need to even redefine anything? That's the problem right now. It's so unnecessary having to use this box props. Why not just use the view props? Since we know that the view props is coming from React Native straight away. But now we don't have things as child, we don't have things like this. Okay, no, I won't use the view props. I'll use the flex props, which is coming from React Native. Nah, you can't use that. No, we can't use that. We need to use this still view style. I need to stop from flex style. Okay, still need to change this. Yeah, that's cool. So the only thing we don't have is the radius. We don't have the radius style children and this. So which we can then, you know what? I'm still going to box props, and then instead of defining the way we have going to add it all like the radius, background color. Can't do that. Now, so the reason why I can't do that is because we can for some of them we can actually use this, but we have to extend. For instance, it has to be something like this: extend view style. We have to extend view style. So that means that way we can add some other features to it. Now this is not going to work because we are adding more features, right? It says incorrectly extend this type overflow are incompatible. We don't have most of them. Like scrollable is not assignable to type visible within scroll. So that means we need to change some things. But I think that's the only thing currently we need to resolve. Overflow, where are you? Overflow, overflow. Yeah, so this will not be scrollable to be scroll. So that way we have a consistent, do you understand? We have a consistent type with the box. So we don't need to start defining and making changes. For instance, the way I was using defining this to be dimension value, if I change this back here to number and string, it should literally have not much effect, but it will still do because we are using the view style here. But because we are using that extension, we have everything that is accessible. So that means even if I remove all the maximum height and width and all of these things, it should still work fine. That's the meaning, because all of these are coming from the view style directly. So if I do this, I should still have everything working here. So rather than redefining the entire thing. So that's what I'm trying to do. So we don't need everything as much as we have it here. So rather than, instead, what I can just do here is pick what I don't have. So what I don't have from the actual box props that I defined is things like as child, which we do not have. So let me just view that here. So what don't I have? I don't have the radius. Yes, I don't have the BG color. So I don't have the radius, as child, children, style. Those are the four things I don't have. So what I can do here is just I'm sure this is going to work. Thinking this might not work where I want it to. Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm going to. So, okay, when we start making the changes on the component itself, we'll see if this works or not. That way, I can make changes and then test the changes to see if it actually gives a value or not. So in this case, it says currently in badge.tsx, the lines use color scale directly, but after the fix, returning full scale, I need to update this to undo the dark mode. Exactly. So it needs to work something like this. So let's see if that will work. I actually prefer this method. And so we need to go back to the badge, right? So yeah. So okay, I like this fix. I like this fix. So let it do that. But I would have preferred it to do it in the first place, really. But it doesn't matter. Let it do this, because this way we tend to reduce all of these issues also. Okay, so why is resolving the fix? Let's go back to the layout. I'll be fixing the other ones little by little. So from the box itself, we have the comp. The component is just a, if it's as child, return the slot, if not, return the view. So that way we are trying to add the as child property to be able to use the as child property in React Native. If you're familiar with the as child, it's something like this. So let's say I have a button and a link. Where is it? I'm sure there should be an as child property here used somewhere. Yeah, this is the as child. So this as child allow you to be able to use it as change the default render element for one of the, yeah. So use it for the child itself. So let me know for where it's being used. I think it's used in dialog. Dialog use, it's not here. I'm looking for where it is used as child, so we can use that automatically. No, it's not use data list. Nah, that no. Oh, come on. Where can a child show me one? Like, okay, so basically, a child is used in that regard. Like, if you are familiar with that SHA-CN, does use it. It's the same concept in this case. SHA-CN allows you to use something like that, the as child. So you can use it to represent some of the, no, not the SHA-CN hooks, the actual SHA-CN. I recommend also checking this hook if you are working with front end, right? I do a lot of front end mobile and all of other stuff, back end as well. So, but if you're working with front end, I regard using this. It can really help you for your whole full stack stuff, because you can use the same hook maybe for your back end, not this exact one, but something similar. So you can have a consistent hook across board. But what I'm trying to explain is you can use the as child property here, which is what we are trying to define. So wow, this is taking a lot of time to fix this. I've just done it myself, really. Okay, so we have this. So I'm sure I don't need this at all, really, to be honest. So we have the styles. Theme here doesn't have style, it only has colors. Colors dots. Okay, it doesn't have box too. So Steam doesn't have style. So I'm just going to remove this because we don't have that. So we have these two, just these two. So style should be fixed now. Says fill are incompatible. Okay, so that's the mean I need to can fix something. Box style still has an issue that we need to fix. From what actually? So what's the exact thing that needs to be fixed? Value falsy. Okay, let's go back to box props. So let's before value falsy No, not is okay. Let's see the plate. I think it has successfully done that. So it's created. So you refactor this function to get the color scale. Then to get color two by passing exactly. This is what you should have done. If this had been done, this is going to work still. Why did I think of this? This is what was needed. It should have worked the same way. All I needed to do was key off of type of color scale or dark. Same color, see this here, the color scale dark, fix that thing. But better way. I would have preferred the previous way to of doing it and fix it. But I think I also prefer this one. It's difficult to say right now because it's big. That's why we have to make changes consistently. We look for the one that is more efficient and stuff. And over time, we make the fixes. But currently, there are no more errors here. So this is the way I'm going to continually work on all of them. So consistently, we need to work on the whole components like this, the card, the data list, using this same approach. Yeah. So yeah, it's like 100%. But we are not. I'm not giving we can do something, right? Still be able to do something. Back to our box. This requires me to, yeah, create a ref, component prop ref. So if I create a ref here, I'm creating a component prop. It's going to fix that. No, it's still not fixing it. It's still there. I've created it already. How many component prop do you want to create? That's just terrible. All right, so we'll fix that for now. Find a way to fix this eventually. It's just TypeScript stuff. No bad errors found. This being the same, so that the next few months, so what I can do. I'll do a follow-up video to show you guys like a progress of what has been done. But the point is, you can see that there's a lot of progress, right? We successfully seen that there's a lot of progress in terms of the components being created and a lot of other things that are fixed. So first thing fixed was the view. So if I keep doing it like this from one place to another, we should be able to consistently get everything done. I've not read through the code base truly, but seeing the components, I know there are still fixes that needs to be done across board. But while we are testing it on the mobile itself, we should see other things working successfully. So this is one of the things I expect we work. I definitely expect it to work. I'm sure it's going to work. But then there's no way to be sure. You need to keep going until you get to the point where it's okay. Now can I test this? Then we test it out. But there are a few issues compared to what I was expecting it to be. Like the checkbox is still going to be checkbox. Then for the type, we need to remove the style. We don't have this coming from anywhere. So style should be defined here. Apparently, it's not defined on the props. Why is it not defined on the props? You defined it on avatar, for instance. Yeah, custom style. Okay, so let's fix that and fix this. So successfully fix this of checkbox group. Check be fine now. You're done. Uh, let's see this team box. So what's the default color for checkbox? Let me be sure. What color for check color? Tree. The color. What is the accent color in this case? But we need to be able to define an accent color. So what I need to do is we need to press is it failing? It's not unable to type this. Usually the same thing. So what's the problem? Oh, we have this. Oh, undo press is coming from this. Returns a void. On press auto opacity. It should be pressable. I suppose it's pressable, but that's fine. And okay, come back to fix that. Let's resolve this first. Okay, so one error down, two more to go. Find a way to define the colors. For the colors, okay, I should use the accent color. This for it. You know what? I'm going to do this. That's fine. So we have one more error to fix for the checkbox. So let's look at the icon color. Icon color has similar errors. We fix this. We fix what else? The size. Activity indicator has the size of small. I think it just doesn't have a size. Activity indicator has a size. Definitely, I'm sure it does have a size. Why did I create a custom one? Why do I create a custom activity indicator? Like why? What's the point? Why did you even create one like this? So unneeded, so unnecessary. Okay, that's fine. For now, I'm not bothering about this one. I wouldn't expect you to create an activity indicator because it's literally I was trying to table like literally the same. And then the size is just plain wrong. Although we had this issue when we are creating the star prop the other time. We didn't need that. We are creating this from React Native, so that fixes all the issues. But we still have this one coming from React Native indicator props, which is coming from ViewStyle, which is correct. It does not exist on this, which is coming from this. What was I expecting from this though? Like, okay, this is I just feel this is not needed. I'll come back to this. So not needed. I'd have preferred getting this from the actual activity indicator. Does it work? Let me see if I can get that from React Native itself, which is there. So if I'm using that, I still get the same thing as size of small. I get the color type to be, which takes the color value. Color value in this case is just icon color is wrong. No, 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 no. Okay, variant color is coming from get variant color, which is coming from here, which is that's fine. This is how I'm going to use this. I'm not importing it from the activity indicator because there's no point having a new one. Why is it creating a touchable opacity too? Like, why do you need to create a touchable opacity of your own? There's one in React Native already. Like, why am I recreating this? Why are you recreating this? This is so not needed. Touchable highlight. I understand that. Yes, we can. Okay, you know what? That's fine. I'm not doing that. The icon button is taking this, which you don't have also. I don't know where it's picking this from. Then touchable opacity, if I'm not mistaken, coming from here. That's why it's failing because we are recreating stuffs that do not exist. No, not doing that also. So I need to go import this from the actual touchable opacity from React Native, which I trust more than what is creating here. But the problem is this: we have the ref here, which is passed as a forward ref. And the way it is being used is used just in that regard, which is this needed really? I understand the whole forward ref stuff, but do we really need it? Do we need a ref for the icon button since it's just an opacity, a touchable opacity button? Okay, you know what? I'll leave it for now. I know it's just messy because we don't need it. It's just plain wrong. Oh, that's fine. All right, so the next thing which I want to do is after fixing the box, which is just this one, container also should have the same issue, just two definite issues that we need to resolve. Then we need to go here. We are not exporting the interface. Fix this. The flex style uses same issue that we had in the box, which we need to define flex style instead and using this flex props. The flex prop is coming from here. We need to extend to use view style coming from React Native itself. And then there are some things that needs to be removed, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah, this has to be dimension value. So dimension value undefined. Yeah, so same thing as before. Flex prop, extend this scrollable. So I need to remove this from scrollable to scroll. Yeah, and that should be okay. So for the actual flex style, we have row, column, reverse, and we have this. But in this case, I'm saying we have RTL. It's not able to inherit left to right, right to left, undefined. Okay, I was going to remove this. Then is remove- it's coming from React Native. So um, remove this. So same thing, we are going to fix this ref issue. Then we have the grid. Grid should have similar issues as flex. This should be just this, and this should be the same thing. Returning number, string or number is not set to string undefined. Get column width. Okay, so that should be fine. Then we have this removed. Done. Oh no, there's still issues. Where is that coming from? Coming from here. So why is it complaining? Style undefined is not assignable to view style. Undefined is not. Okay, so this is come on. I know you don't exist, so it's not compulsory for you to exist, which is not compulsory to be passed, which doesn't really matter. Yes, but why? Okay, you know what? I'm not bothering about this for now. We have this definition. So the insert, lot of issues. Does not exist in animated mode. Animated mode. Okay, so yeah, one last thing. Fix this. Insert this returns. Dimension is not sendable to view style. View style undefined. So many bugs. So AI clearly cannot write a UI framework from scratch, as we can see. Yeah, it can do some other stuff, some cool stuff, but it really can't write some of them from scratch. Okay, so what I'm going to challenge this with is I'm going to challenge this to say the data display directory contains files with some type issues. Can you detect and resolve those issues? So I just wanted to plan and try to see if you can fix that issue or those issues. So this is me asking you to fix the issue. So the next thing I'm going to do is just basically go here and so yeah, I'm going to fix the issues, right? Just look through it, fix the issues. So what's happened next is let's see the other things I can fix while uh Navigation overlays. I think I prefer the overlay. Overlay requires a lot more. Oh, wow. Okay. This was written quite well. I'm quite impressed. Uh, really impressed. So context provider contains colors. Colors is still this is missing from type. It's missing following properties from type, color scale, this. Okay, the same like a previous error we encountered. So type this is not it's missing from following from the properties from type of color scale. Um, yeah. So that means the value from the provider itself. Oh no. Alert context provider coming from here scale or you okay, I can't use that. I can't use that. It needs to be I'm picking this from batch. This one that was used. Oh, color scale uses as a type here. Oh no. I get it. I get it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll come back to that. So the size for this should be 123 is a number, not a string, which is correct. Style here is coming from okay, I need to fix this too. So style is coming from here and it's coming from the alert dialog props, which style here should not be a style prop view style. It should be a text style. Yeah, so it should be text style. But just to be sure, where is the view style coming from? It's coming from React Native, so we can use it normal text style directly without filling. So that means style is basically um, whether it exists or not, doesn't matter. So it's if it's we can use that if there is style. I can't destructure it because I don't know if it's going to exist or not. But then whether it exists or not, this is just um, no, I'm not suppressing it, which is correct. So to fix this, then let's go back to flex. That means I can fix the one with flex. Then no, not flex. Is it insets or dialogue or which one? I can't remember. Grid, I think. Yeah, it's grid. Should be grid props, which is style of this, which is wrong because the style of that it's just it's not undefined. Is not in the view style. This is not in the view style, so it should be of style view, not style prop view. Why do I keep having like props? Where is this even coming from? Come on, don't even exist there because it should not exist. This should undefined is not in the view style. Well, style is not compulsory though, but it doesn't matter. That's fine. So that also. Let's go back to the alert dialog and style is just give us something like this. So just define here is like um style here or no. Equal to, so that way even if you're not using it, it's not going to like fall off. So I could just do something like this. So even if you're not defining anything, this should be fine. So that way we give it to all the properties that is in the style. So that fixes it. So here too we have something similar. It says style is now assignable to this, which still is the same thing. This is supposed to be a text style type, which should fix the problem. Then this should be, yeah, same thing. So we're just going to do the same here. Equal to this, and that should be fixed. So yeah, we can see that we are moving on. We are trying to fix as much as we can. So export type this, conflict with this. We've already exported. Oh my god, how do AI keep doing this mistake? How do you export the interface and type in the same file, literally the same way? That makes zero sense. Of course, I don't want to export the interfaces. Type should be exported, but okay, so almost done. Just two left. Just one left. Yay, so we are done. Another one fixed. Whew. Okay, so local variable redundant, obviously. So we just do this way, still the same thing. It's fine. Context menu. So this should be fixed, right? There's one more thing, right? Oh yeah, the colors and the radii. I don't know how to fix this yet. I'll come back to it. Remove this, replace this with this. So I'm going to fix this, which is the radii, which is then this. So then we have this, which is the context menu, and the context menu. We need to go and fix this again. So the type being used is one causing all of this. So I prefer using pressable. I wonder why it was not using pressable for all of those things since. Why was it creating a custom touch opacity for me to use for things that we already have defined? It's not if you are, let me even check that again. Now that I think I want to understand. What are you creating anything special? Children, style, on press. There is no new stuff. There's no as child. There is nothing significantly different from what you are creating. You are basically taking everything from React Node and taking the active opacity, which is still coming from touchable opacity or pressable. So why define a new one? Why? Okay, I'm deleting this one 100%. I don't need that. Where is it? Activity indicator 2 should not exist because I'm not doing anything different. Of course, activity doesn't need all of this margin stuff. It takes what it needs and uses that automatically. So still has all of this, which we don't even need to define. And this has been very much vetted. So yeah, we don't need all of this. So that's fine. So what it was trying to do, I understand, because if you go to icon button, for instance, and you click on this, let me charge my laptop before it dies. So I kind of understand what it's trying to do here, because if we go to this, for instance, Okay, so if you go here, you can see in the icon, we can have something called loading. So if you pass in the loading just like this, you pass in the loading. Is there an example? Yeah, you can see it just changes it to the activity indicator, which is exactly what I want it to do. So that's fine. I don't need it to use something else. I don't need it to create an activity indicator for me, separate from what exists here. So let's fix this last error from action button. So no button is successfully okay. So we need to make sure this is, so we need to change the view style also. We need to remove the props, style props from it. So that means this is not necessary. So remove this, then we go back to, so we are still using the same variant from Radix, like perfectly the same variant. I prefer using the numbers instead of the string for the numbers, so it's just a personal preference. Or we can make it still the same, one or number or string, it doesn't matter. So what we can do here is, how is this fine? And then the other one is giving issues. I need to understand why this was working, the other one is not working. So the colors here is coming from, okay, you know what? That's fine for now. So style is coming from here. So style here is equal to by default, and that should fix all the errors. On press. Oh, we need to still resolve on press. Okay, so is this a touchable opacity from primitives? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. There's nothing different, right? Nothing. So I'm changing this to, because this is using, for instance, on press here is what? Except the only reason that I want to use this is using the custom themes. It's using the, finding the theme to be the one coming from the gray color, and the press coming from here is, okay, I think this is not needed, to be honest. I just think this is not needed. So I'm going to change this to use total opacity from, oh, you, the ref. Do we need the ref anywhere? Like, for instance, in the icon button, do I need to use the ref here? So I'm using the ref, which is coming from the icon button, which is being passed. But if I'm using it in that touchable opacity itself, can I use the ref? Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do here next. I am going to leave this. At least for now. That's weird. I didn't know I was not going to work. So when you are there, there's no checkbox. That's fine. There's the last one. Video item props. Yeah, so we're almost done with this. Let's see. Style props. Okay. So yeah, let's start by check. So this is the last thing we're going to do today. I'll just allow this check this. Check for that folder. See if you can fix all the issues in the folder. And if you can successfully resolve it, then I'm going to end it here today and proceed to like fixing these issues constantly before next time I'm going to have this. So if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so that we can you can get notified on when the next stuff is coming. And also I would appreciate it if you can like this video so far for sticking up to this point. Really appreciate you guys. So yeah, consider subscribing, liking the video. Really appreciate that. Okay, so first thing, I successfully fixed some of the issues, but not all of them, but most of them. And the next thing I want to do is fix the view. We've done that. The touchable highlights, I haven't done anything on this. I need to fix it coming from here so we can get this out of the way and fix the same thing from here as well. And this doesn't exist. 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 Okay, so one. Okay, so that's already working. So it's already working to fix the stuff we pointed out. So the last thing is the style. Style coming from here. So that means all I need to do is to just set a default style for it, and that should be fine. So I'm going to set a default style. Going back here. Let's see if that fixes it. What is this? Did you just write nothing? Really? Okay, let's see the first one fix. So it touched on the card. I haven't really fixed all the errors except for what did it fix actually? So he created the footer component to resolve this footer stuff and exported the card props by removing the export. I think I did that myself, I'm not sure. And then the last thing is the style, which I understand you might not be able to fix the style. because it's not able to fill. I fixed the ref, which is what I'm quite happy about. Yeah, so I created a. How did they fix that? All right, so let's see what happens. I'm going to leave this for the next few minutes and get to see what happens eventually. So in the next 6 minutes, I'm going to be ending this video for today. But so far, we've seen how far we've gone and what we need to create a better, or let me say, a mobile framework. Right? We know what we need to create one. So okay, so let's see. Progress is just one error, which is from the progress prop, which means I can just fix that. So let's look at data lists. What did he fix from data lists? Well, nothing much. We still have some of the errors. It says unknown or string is not assignable to component class. Any is not assignable to React node. This data component is of type what? Yeah, I think I understand what to do here. So he said it's not assignable to type of React node. So what we need to do is just go back to data list and fix it to be of type. What was here before? React node. So why did we change it to React node to this? Okay, I think I know what to do here. So we need all of this or any of this to pass it to view. And the view we are passing it to is the one coming from the one we defined. Because we defined this view. Why do we even define this view? You have the mode, you have the colors. Oh shit, this is just wrong. Oh no. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't be doing this really. What to do here? So first thing I want to do is to the child. The children node should be any of this guy. Yeah, any of this. So if I use this as a child node for any of them, oh no. So that means it should. Okay, let's look at the actual view. The actual view returns what? Extend view base. View base is of type constructor, constructor of native method, and type of view component. We have the component. Oh, shush. What did I use? This component type. So I could just see type of view base. View base. Is it exported? No, it's not exported. It is view component. It's not exported also. Uh, oh, so yeah, almost done with this. Let's see what this can to check if it works. Clearly, it is not perfect yet. I know there are still a lot of bugs there, which means it's not complete. Still asking myself if I need this view. Well, I don't think I know. All I could just do is the colors is used where is used for background color. That's all. So if it's just for background color, then I could literally just import the normal view from React Native and do something like this. This is so not needed, right? Because well, I need a ref. Problem right now is the ref is the only thing I'm making use of properly. So what if I do this and I okay, so successfully got all of this to work fine for card. Data lists could be resolved 100%. So going back to view, if I could do this rather than creating my own RN view, which is fine. And then I define the props the way I have it here. which is also fine. And then I memorize it, which is also fine. This is one of the problems I have with this especially the activity indicator. I don't think that's needed, honestly, because I know the spinner doesn't even pass in the ref for any reason. So why do I need that? But let's pick the view first. I'll pick the view, remove that, then remove the touchable opacity, touchable highlights. All of those things I don't need. I feel like are coming directly from React Native. I don't need to rewrite them. I don't think I need to do that. So for spinner here, let's see what I can do. The size is small and large. I'm having medium in this case, which so as it's normal. Size does not exist on type, which is okay. So card is fine now. We successfully worked on the badge, avatar badge card. Data list in its own case still will contain errors for some reasons because it's coming from the views. What I'm going to fix next is the views. The progress is fine. The progress is fine. There are no errors in progress. Spinner will not work because we are still using the activity indicator spinner, which I'm skeptical about using. I just don't like this at all. Which I understand we don't need, to be honest. We really don't need it. I understand the use for the ref, but why? I'm not using this to just fix this at all. Generally, and then we're good to go. But then, do I need the ref? Just because I'm passing it doesn't mean I need it. I don't know. I'm not. I have to check this out. For the spinner, though, should be fixed. Progress should be fixed. What else? Table. I didn't create a table. Did I ask you to create a table here? Alright, but that's fine. Table was created. All well and good. Fine. Data list is the only problem left. So if you can successfully fix the data list, then we're good to go. I think that's the only thing left to successfully complete is the data list, which I'm not even sure about here. And what next? Okay, okay, I think this is fine. Touchable opacity is fine. Yeah, it's okay. It's not okay. Like okay, but it's fine. I don't want to rewrite all of this. Especially for things like colors, because I could literally just do this. All of these are unnecessary. What I need is just the theme mode and colors is used just here at the point of defining the background color. That's all. And if I'm not mistaken, touchable highlights already uses background color. If you style it to use touchable style here, so this is just so unnecessary right now. of all, let's pick the view. Let's fix the view. I don't want this here. I'm struggling to accept this here. I don't want to accept it because I feel it's not necessary. You take the view, yes, and you don't want to do this. Where are you being used? First of all, let me be sure. You are being used in avatar. If I use the normal view, do I still get? Does it work? Does it flow? Ref is going to complain. It's not assignable to this or no. So these are under primitives. So in primitives is more like recreating things like scroll view, text inputs. I need to understand why those things are being created. I really need to understand why to decide if this is what I want. Okay, so like the only one left is the data list, which significantly fully fixed if I convert it into any. Oh my god. Alright, so this is fine. So you converted it to any, you was able to get it done. That's cool. And so using any is just messy. But for one, two things. Data list is not properly implemented. Data list is just supposed to be something like this. Something like this. So it's not supposed to be this. It's not supposed to be a flat list. One. It's never supposed to be a flat list. Like the essence of using a flat list, I don't even know why. Because it's just a data list is just something like this. Of course, using a flat list can work, but do we need a flat list for this implementation? Obviously not. And then if you look at the way it's rendering the item in the flat list, it's just rendering like a list item that contains the view and then rendering an item in the view, the data list item. And data list item is coming, which takes in the key item and the index. Okay, you know what? Just going to ignore that for now. Data list is going to be subject to completion later on. For now, it's not really a problem. So two other stuffs we have to fix here. I know it can't fix all of it at once. So it's just going to tell me that yes, it fixed what I asked it to do, which is correct. So my next question is to ask if in the context of this whole project that or let me say in this whole refactoring and migration, do we need all of these primitives? Because the essence of primitives in this case is to give you like a um is to give you like a background to work on. For instance, primitives in Radix here, it just gives you a way of creating the basics that you can then build upon. For instance, we have things like the drop down menu, like the pop over, the slider. If considering the slider from the primitives here and the slider from the themes, if you look at the difference, you see that this one is properly themed, or is using the primitives, it's just modifying the primitives by giving it life and other stuffs. Same applies area, the tabs. The tabs here is basic. But comparing the tabs here with the tabs in the themes is extremely different. The tabs from the themes here looks this way, right? You could argue that the other one is better. It just depends on preferences. So yeah, the same thing goes to the accordion. The accordion in this case looks like this, and then we have the radio card. We have the radio group rather. The radio group in this case looks like this. The radio group in the themes looks somewhat different. So if I go to the radio group in this place, you can see it looks like this. And that one is even quite better if you think about it than the way this looks. But you can still style this to look much like that one. Doesn't really make any difference. So the primitives are just like core building blocks that you can use to determine how the other stuff looks like. So this is the radio group in this case. So if I go to the radio group, let's say I go to the get started, I go to radio group just to show you guys from the primitives now, not from the themes. You have something like this. Now you can see it was just styled to look like what you saw up there. So the primitive still gives you something like this. It just depends on how you want to style it. So the primitive is just something that you have, then you can decide to now style to make it work for you, for your use case. So that is it. Why am I running a semicolon? Okay, so I want to ask the question of the primitives here. So I'm just going to ask it to make this last thing. So this is the last thing I'm doing for today, just for explanation purposes. I have so based on the implementation of this, do we need the primitives directory? Okay, so first things first, successfully we have all the data display fixed. So that means every error that we had in data display has been fixed. So we're taking it group by group. Let me say category by category. In terms of display, we have everything fixed. Of course, it just acts most of them by using any, as you can see. It just converted it to any, and that was all for most of the fixes. But it still works, right? So that's fine. So I'll just take the data display, mark it as fixed. Then coming to buttons, which is not going to work, like in this case. Also, it's going to fail because it's going to tell us style does not exist in style props and stuff like this. And the reason is because we don't need this style prop here. It's not needed. And that means if you don't need that, we need to remove it from here. And let me see what it did first of all. It's also so we can take in one or more style type like this, but this is still complaining that it's not has no common properties in this. Oh yeah, that's why. It's because it's bringing it from the custom created stuff. You know what? I'm not even going to bother with that until we fix the property commonly created stuff. So once that is fixed, then we'll talk more on how to resolve this. So the last thing is the user is asking about primitive directory and whether we need it. Let me check the conversion plan and the current state of the primitives to understand the context better. So it needs to read through the entire thing. Once it's done reading through it, it checks to see if it works for most of the files and if it is needed. Now the point is we don't need it because it's not really needed for the files. I know we don't need most of them, or even if it's needed, we can always simplify them. For instance, we do not need the activity indicator. Like this is not needed because we are using literally just one or two configurations, this, and this. Animating here is not what we want to define ourselves. or hide when stopped. Hide when stop is coming from the actual um, activity indicator. So why are we recreating it? It's not needed. So, but things like the what we don't even need all of them. Like even the image, right? Like we do not need most of it because it's just like we are duplicating what we already have by creating a duplicate of the existing stuff. So this says looking at the conversion plan. The primitive is essential for React Native component library. Here is why. Why do we need the team integration layer and the primitive wrap React Native components and connect them to the theme system via the use theme hook? This ensure consistent default background colors from the theme, automatic dark and light support, which I understand that is needed. Unify color scale across the component, but do we need to define all of the props? Why not just use it as okay, we have the props here. Right, do we need to define the props like that? I'm not too sold on that. So the primitive components implement common props interfaces. So high level component have a consistent API. So abstraction over React Native, you have stuff like this. Instead of this, use this. Um, they all depend on the primitives. Per the conversion plan, explicitly list this as a deliverable. So I think we need to make that fix. A foundation of the architecture without the MVR level, we need to implement team integration separately, leading to code duplication and inconsistency. Okay, which is correct. I don't have a problem with that. But um, okay, so I agree with the fact that we need the primitives, but I think they tend to re-implement a lot of what already exists in React Native. We should not have to define the props ourselves, but use the props from React Native to prevent having a disparity in the props types. This will give a consistent behavior when users are using this UI framework on mobile or Expo per the intentions. What do you think? So I need you to see from my point of view the fact that we do not need most of these things. For instance, why do I need to recreate a rarent view to use every single thing again? Like I don't need the rent view to display the same thing. Like for instance, if I go back to the view, right? I don't need the rent view to, of course, I need to define the consistent theme mode, like you said, which is correct. I agree with the fact that we need this. But the point is we do not need this to implement all of this again. We could just take this prop directly from there. Why we are not even using this for anything? Aside from the fact that we fine, we are taking this, we pass the memo, right, and we pass it as a prop, and then define it as the prop type itself, and then add a ref to it, which is the only thing we need. So I don't want the fact that we have to redefine all the other props ourselves. There's a better way to simplify it, and that is what I want you to understand and implement. So yeah. So if you can successfully understand that, it can simplify it, and then we can move on. Because number one, I don't see us needing all of these props. It's just too verbose, like it's just too duplicative. To me, it's just a way of duplicating stuff we don't need. Because now we need to manually manage the props from ourselves and from React itself, which is just wrong. We should not have to manage the prop ourselves since there's already a prop type coming from React directly. This is just too much. And then it's 1,000 lines of code, which is going to be difficult to manage. Managing the props can be fine, but then it breaks the entire type if something changes. If something changes in our own different from React, it messes up the entire framework, which is not what we wanted to do. We want to be able to manage the framework one to one with React type system, then build on top of it. I just needed to understand that. Exactly. So now you understand. They say the current high maintenance, that is exactly it. It's too high maintenance because I need to be sure everything is defined, import from this, scroll event and stuff. It's too high maintenance. We already have all the props coming from React Native. They've done the hard work for us. We are building on top of it. We don't need to do that. So it says manually re-implementing 100 plus props. It's too much. 1,000 lines of code is just unnecessary. So you see, the better approach is using React Native types, which is exactly what you should do. And benefit of successful approach: consistency, future proof, exactly. Less maintenance, exactly. Better intelligence, 100%. This is this is necessary because if not, there's no type safety in our framework, and that is not going to give a good user experience. I don't know what is what. I don't know when to use this to use. One of the reasons why I pick Radix is because it gives you proper type. You know every prop has this, uses this, nothing changes. And that's exactly what we are trying to replicate as well. So that is it. One more thing I would like to do, which I don't see this working or giving me yet, is that when we define things like the flex, right? Everything has to be defined inside a theme like this. So instead of defining a custom view, why not define everything in a theme ourselves? And so we know that everything inherits that particular theme. I don't know if that is possible in our use case. I've not really thought of that, but I just thought of it now and I feel it would be a better approach to use. And yes, create a refactory plan. Yes. So this is extremely important. Implementation is going to be too expensive to manage. We have to manage all the props ourselves again. We are not creating the React Native anymore. Nah. We are not creating it ourselves. We are just creating a framework that works, a UI framework for it, which is the intention. So we trying to implement it is just too expensive. So two things. I'm thinking of how we can use something like the theme. So if you use the theme now, whatever we define in the theme, like the flex and all, we just use the settings from the theme. So, which I think is still the same thing. We already have a theme props, and we have it in this place. Same thing, yeah, something like this. Which is still the same thing here. Yeah, so I think that's cool. Yeah, it's still the same thing. We still need the view. Um, we need the view. We need the touch opacity, the scroll view, pressable, which I'll prefer using the pressable for all the button types because then you can manage, you can configure all the states, the click state, the over state. It's easy to refactor because if you consider this, for instance, going to the buttons for like the card has a state that you can use. Let me show an example. If I go to a card with a link like this, yeah, this is the as child I was trying to look for. That has the as child. And if I click on it, you can see it has a state. Hovering on it gives you that border. It makes it lighter and the color becomes a bit darker, the background. So if I click on it also, you can see the change, right? Something like that. All right, so that's is that. Then for the button as well, you can see the difference. Hovering on it gives it a different color. Clicking on it gives it a different color. We can also add more styles to it to give it a different feel. Maybe like when you press it, something should change. Should you should give it the press feel and all of those things. We can do that. It's configurable. We can always do that ourselves. All right, so this is creating a plan called primitive refactoring. And if it can successfully create the plan, we just work with the plan, right? Like it says, remove custom props for React Native and replace the props with that from React Native. Remove 80 lines of manual prop destructuring, which number one is my major problem with it. Like imagine having to manipulate that. No, no, I don't want that. So the target is this. We new pattern extend this, which is correct. This is what I want. View as arrange view props as this, then use it like this, 100%. Then add only specific theme specific extension, which is what I was talking about initially. We don't need the children and style to be defined ourselves. It comes from React Native. Let it come from there. So that's the same thing he's talking about too. So we have view props just like we have here, but it extends this, which is correct. Then we just use that. So you see how we simplify this. We just have like few lines of code and that's it. So we have to refactor 11 files, uh, extend this to this, media input, blah, 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 for users, for maintenance, for type safety, 100%. All right, so I'm going to tell you to proceed with this. I think you should be done writing this by now. So it said next step, review and approve this plan, create feature branch for refactoring. Okay, yeah, I'm going to create a branch for it. Implement phase one, view text as proof of concept. So the thing is, I've not created a repo for this because I haven't decided to create a repo. This is just based on testing. I haven't created a repo for it. Best I can do is, um, so it's going to remove about 1,000 lines of code, which just makes sense. So that way we don't need all of the ones that was complaining about these props. We don't need the props file. Props file is just too high maintenance, really too high maintenance. So this is one of the reasons why you should understand how this works so you can guide it. Imagine if I'm just say, oh, I'm vibe coding this, I'm just bloating everything, and then it will not scale, it will crash eventually. Because imagine having to add new components, which I have in plan for it. We are still going to add components like this that doesn't currently exist. We're going to add component like adding stuff like this, the one-time password stuff, the password toggle field for actual forms. We're still going to add stuff like ArcUI. I was checking ArcUI the other day. ArcUI is actually very cool. ArcUI. I thought I had it opened. Okay, maybe I don't have it opened, but you get the point. ArcUI is very cool stuff. I love the fact that it has a lot of components you can use. This, if I wanted to modify anything, this would have been what I modify. But this is just too it's too expensive. It could be something that can be ported to native and work for native on its own. But I just feel like I like the fact that it has its own stuff. So this is how it works basically. It provides basic stuff for you to use. It has UI state machines for all of these, framework adapters, then ArcUI are just components on top of it that translates to using all of this. That translates other stuffs can use like Chakra uses and Panda and all of those other stuff. So provide comprehensive for user interfaces. To achieve this is built on Zag.js, a UI component powered by finite state machines. Check out the architecture diagram for a high-level overview. So it's a headless component library for that provides more than 40 components and tools to help you build accessible, complex, and feature-rich design. So yeah, this is basically it. So it's built by Segun Agbaje, the creator of Chakra UI. That's the ArcUI is built and maintained by these guys. So the core maintainer is Crystal Bush. The Esther Agbaje is the developer advocate for this project. So that's basic. This is an example of something now. If I was to do it again or differently, this is what I would have used. But the reason I'm not going for this is because this has a lot of is used for solid, Velt, and this and that and stuff. So, but then I'm thinking of something simple for us. We can add things like clipboard eventually, but clipboard, in this case now is different because the clipboard here is something you have to like install a library to work with and stuff and stuff. But if you think about it, it's just a div. You can create that as a view and give stuff to it. So these are things I would say like us to work on eventually, especially the clipboard. It can help for other stuff. So it says all the immediate TypeScript has been resolved and plan is ready for review when you want. So what I want to do is I'll just tell you to just implement this, right? Now that it has created the refactoring plan, so to just go ahead and do it. So it says summary of this, all the data display has been fixed. We need to fix the refactoring plan for this also. Benefit is this. Okay, so I'll say proceed to So in this case, it's going to suggest to me how he wants to proceed, whether he wants to use an orchestrator or something, just like he did yesterday. Because yesterday he had to create an orchestrator for me for what to use, but today is just me prompting it. What do you want to use? Decide what you want to use, and just go ahead and use it. This is one of the reasons I like to look code. It knows how to delegate tasks by itself. Once you give it the proper plan, it knows to delegate the tasks to other subtasks. If it needs an orchestrator to implement it because it's complex, it knows what to do. So I was even planning to create something yesterday for using this because it's quite cool. I've implemented a lot of stuff. The project that I was working on, it's a this is the project. It was is this yeah, this project. So this is an ID, it's an online ID for the Solidity language that's supposed to be used for stuff. So now I've been stuck on this for a while because I've not really had chance to do it. And the reason is because the deployment code, the logic that handles deployment key, I just now requires like I need like almost a fix it at a stretch takes it. So it needs very proper concentration to be able to fix it, which I know. For instance, now this is a project I built. I wanted it to work seamlessly with this wallet as well. Now this is also a wallet I built that I wanted it to work with out of the box. That I wanted that synergy between them was so that they could work hand in hand without me needing to do like a lot of stuff. That was part of the plan when I was building this idea. But there was a problem. The problem is that if I open the example contract, for instance, and I want to deploy this, all I need to do is compile this. Compilation should be fine. It should work fine. And you get all the information, you get all the stuff. And then I want to deploy this, right? I need to connect a wallet. The wallet is going to prompt me to connect is Rabbit wallet. I want to be able to change the wallet I want to. I don't want to use Rabbit wallet. I want it to automatically listen for this. Locally, this is my own wallet I built so that it can listen for this wallet, which it does. Even if I test it on other places and it does work. But what I'm trying to point out is that there has been a lot of issues with and the current model will not work on it. But the way I see this model work, because I needed to do a lot of reading of different code bases of different files to be able to get this done. So I think this is one of the ones that can actually help me with this. I mean, this particular orchestrator mode should be able to help me with making this work because I have a compiler uh, module. The compiler module is the one that handles compilation, right? Which is this one. I have a deployment module, which is what we handle this. I also have the file explorer module, but all of them are supposed to work together. If you understand what I mean. So for that to work, you need an orchestrator like what is happening here, which is what we need. So that is why I keep saying that this in this case, if I'm going to revisit this project because I like the way this works, this new model helps orchestrate things. I think I will go back to this to complete it. It's been a while. I haven't touched it in like 4 or 5 months. I think it's something I was working on that was very, very challenging for me and it was cool, but I've not touched it in a while. So I wanted it to work seamlessly with this wallet. Like I said, this is a wallet I built. I wanted it to work together. I just wanted that synergy between them, but it doesn't do that as you can see. So if I try connecting a wallet now, it doesn't work. It will still bring out the Rappi wallet, which I don't want. That's not what I want. So I haven't gotten that to work yet. Also, I wanted it to be in such a way that I don't need to connect an actual wallet, but create like a local one that will work for it. I've done that now. The current phase of the project allows you to do that. So if I do this, for instance, let me go to this. If I run this, now you can see the to-do list, the improvement task. I haven't been able to complete it. I've been working on it little by little, little by little, little by little, but it hasn't been completed yet. So let me show you what I mean. If I do this, I think it should work. Dev work or start. I think it starts. So if I go here, I think it starts. I'm not sure. dev. Oh, I'm supposed to install it again. Oh, no, no, I'm not doing that now. So yeah, I will show you guys this when it's done too. I think I will list it on my GitHub so you can have access to it. That's some of the things I've been working on for some time. Just trying to like make work and complete. Yeah, hopefully I can use this new model to get it to work. I believe I like the way this works. Now you can see what I'm talking about. It removed more than 1,000 lines of code, almost 1,400, and that's only added 83 lines of code. Now you see the way it's working. So it's removing a lot of things that we don't even need. Now it's on 1,622, only adding 93 things, but deleting 1,622, which is cool. Now imagine having 1,000 lines of code removed from your code base. It's going to be lighter. You don't need to go through much logic. You understand the whole modularity stuff. It works perfectly well. So and this just makes it interesting and consistent. I think I like this one. So that's another thing we are trying to fix. So what I need to do now is after this is done, I'll make it remove the props. We do not need the props anymore. Props file we defined ourselves with. So we just make it work what has created here, the way it has created it, as you can see. So it's importing this from React Native as RS. But this is going to fail now because we have the same name. Okay, so the last thing here is now that is done, it has removed 2,000 lines of code, adding only 114 lines of code. So that's done it very boring for me. Like now I'm happy with the way the code is looking. I think Pressible still needs to be resolved. There's still something that needs to change. I think we need to change this. The style should be using um no. Let me check that as well. So style is coming from Pressible props, which is coming from React Native. So this is not assignable to this. Do we see our style props somewhere? I thought we removed that. Okay, now it's trying to fix that. So it's fixing the one from flat list first, then the one from Pressible should be next. Still use it as any. I like the fact that this just results to any at the end of the day. That's so nice. Okay, so okay, so successfully done. Now 2,015 lines of code. Well, let's check to see if it works. So all the primitives are fine now. We successfully removed all the things we don't need. The colors, yes, which is the default. We don't need to change anything here. So I'm going to go back to the where did I use it before? I used that in the spinner, right? I think it was in the spinner. So, but I'll go back to data display first of all. Yeah, spinner. So the activity indicator here, I using the one from primitives. Okay, now there's no error because we fixed it successfully, and we can see now. So the other one from avatar, which is used from the view. So I was using the view. Now we won't use view anymore. We use the RN view, which is coming from primitives, right? So using the view from primitive should give us the RN view, which is this, should be used instead. So going back to avatar here, I'm going to be using that as RN view is what I'm going to be using. There shouldn't be any error because now we are just extending the actual view from React Native. So that should be fine. There shouldn't be any errors at all. So as you can see, it's fine, no errors. So that was the only one I changed, I guess. The badge, I think I changed the badge also. Not sure. I'm using view from primitives. Okay, so that's fine. So a lot of the errors should be fixed themselves. Why? Because things like buttons should no longer give us the error. Touchable opacity, I think I changed this to work from. Okay, we'll fix this. So that's button, icon button as well. Right, so successfully removed. Wow, that was cool. So we removed more than 2,000 lines of code, which is nice. So the next thing we want to do is we tell you to fix the ones in. So I want to start with the one in layout, right? I feel like this is very prominent because these are the ones we actually need. So I'm going to tell it to fix the one in layout. So I'm going to just allow it to fix all of this, get it to do what it wants to do, fix it 100%, and that should be fine. Let's see what we get from here. Okay, so it's going to scan it and proceed with like completing this. Okay, so I think this is going to work. So once this is done, we'll fix this. Then I'll just like end the video here. Then I'll try fixing the other issues, then get it to work. Then once it works, then it's just going to be me trying to resolve the app to work. Or I can even tell it to still do it since we have vibe coding it. Yeah, let's just get it get it to do what it wants to do. And once that is fixed, we just proceed from there. Shouldn't be too difficult for it. API error. What's the error? So one thing I want to point out also is, in this place we have the typography, right, section, which handles all the text and stuff. And the text here also works differently. In this case, this is how it works. It takes the color, uses the color enum. So if I'm not mistaken, this should be using the color enum as well. But I don't think it works that way. It's using just the light on dark mode. Okay, which is fine. Mode equals to dark, use the color of the gray. But why isn't it the color of the gray? Why not the color I decide to use? Which should be what I define, but apparently it's not working that way. So we need to redefine the way it uses that. Except if there's another implementation of color somewhere that I'm not seeing. Okay, typography. Yeah, there's in that text. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's fine because using the text from React Native primitive should be doing that. Yeah. Should be doing that from there. So that should be fine. So I'll say yes, cancel this. So resume task. Okay, I think I'm having a bit of network errors. To call ID not found. I think something is wrong. So I'm just going to create a new stuff from it. Wait a minute though. So I'll tell you to create a new task from this. And okay, so you're just going to work with this. I think it should be fine after we get this done. So this is going to create a subtask instruction for itself, uses that instruction to fix the problem, and then come back to this existing implementation. So that's basically how we get it to work. Yeah, so going back to that QI, there are some other things I would like to implement. Aside from the accordion, there's a collapsible that doesn't exist in these are just animated views stuff that we can create. Like for example, this partial collapse and all of those things. So yeah, those are examples of stuff. Combo box also doesn't exist in Radix, which we can create. Also, and still I can allow you to search. These are stuff we can implement that are cool. We can also, when it comes to network mobile, you really want to use the QR code. It's like a feature that should exist on its own. I wonder why it doesn't exist on other frameworks. But if you can have it, it's just going to be cool. I know there are other stuff you can use, and then to just make sense. Yeah, something like that. It's yeah, and that just makes sense. Then one last thing I really like from Acura is the signature pad. Signature pad is just something that allows you to sign off, which I think is best on things like mobile too, like your iPad, your mobile devices and stuff. So this is another thing I want to implement there. So those are basic things stuffs like the number input is not really important, but the QR code, signature pad, the combo box, yeah, those are really important. Those three extremely important. All right, so this is just me trying to wait until it's done, get it done, and complete what it needs to. So it's just we just want to resolve the layout components, right? The box, the flex, the containers, and stuffs. I don't think it's going to be able to finish or fix this the way I wanted to fix it, but we'll still go back and prompt it. If you are vibe coding this, it's going to do a good job eventually. I don't see it completing everything yet, but you should be able to get it to work. And let's see. So going back to the box, we need to okay, it's done with the grid. I think it's successfully fixed it. What did you remove? Let me see. So if you remove the colors and use just colors, then what did you do with the get column width? You use the colors. Background colors is colors one, but it doesn't consider dark mode yet. Ah, shush. Okay, this is just not cool enough for me. Doing this way, I don't want you to do it. Because if you remove it this way, then I don't know the background color. I don't get the color I want for the background. Because the theme, the color should have handled this, which I believe it's actually should be the way to work. Because the theme I select should. So I'm going supposed to have something like this: dark. Use colors dot dark one or this. So its dark should be something like this also, which is what I should have here. And then we should have use equal to use the mode. So this should be how it should be. So that way I know that wherever it's just the way I have it here. So this is exactly what should be done, but it's not doing it that way. It's just removing the colors and adding adding this, which is just this is what I would have preferred though. I know you might not get it this way, but I still prefer it that way. So I'll just leave myself, use this, add this back to it. Uh, where do I get this from? Okay, so I have the mode, I have this. Of course, it's going to give this issue here. And then first is one. Because in this is not defined. Yeah, which is just because of the style. Box style is coming from just coming from BG color. Yeah, which is still the same thing. Okay, that's fine. So it says type check this. The command is wrong. There's no type check as a command. Insert also, but there's a lot of issue with insert. What in the themes? Oh yeah, there is. Oh, we got insert works. Oh yeah, that's true. So insert is a negative, applies negative margin surrounding. Yeah, content to bleed into the surrounding container. Totally. If you build, you're going to see lots of errors. You're going to run away. There's a lot of errors if you build it. Too many errors we still need to fix. Of course, we fixed most of them, but there's still a lot more we need to fix. We are done with the data display, which is cool. The forms, not so much. We've not done things like radio buttons. Radio still has issues we need to fix. Also, like for instance, the default colors. It's supposed to be accent color, right? Then accent color. I don't know if accent color gives you a string. So it's supposed to be this. Then the ref should be, it's coming from touchable opacity primitives, should be the same. This should be this, and we should have the same thing. Okay, so I think that works. So for the radio button, we need to fix just one more thing, the ref in this case. Yeah, that should fix it. So same thing should apply to radio group. Something similar. Should fix the interface and the item, and we should be done or almost done, not entirely done. But we should have this. This should not be used. We don't need that anymore. The style from here should not be used also. Then we have this as any. Then what else? Style. Why is it complaining of style? It does not exist on radio group props. Wow. Okay, let's go to the radio, copy the props, style from here. There's no style too. Is there class name? What? It's no class name as well. Whoa. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to add it still. Go back to Flex. I think Flex should have a style. They all do. Add it after size. I'm going to add it just here. Yeah, should be good. So next thing is fix the select. Select you have. Wow, I was thinking to have lots of errors. That's pretty fine. No lots of errors. Okay, that's cool. Picker. Do we use Picker anywhere? Why did you import Picker? Where did you get it? I knew it was supposed to have much errors. I was not expecting it to just. What is Picker? Oh my god, this is just weird. Just fabricated a component from nowhere. Oh, typical. Slider. So we are using view here, which is coming from view. We've imported view, but we can't use it. It says not type. Yeah, type of view. Okay, we need to. It doesn't apply. All right, we'll fix this eventually. I'm sure there are still errors. You just want to echo no errors found. Literally, there are still errors which you are still going to fix. Keep going until you fix the errors. Just keep going. We still have other ones to fix, like the switch. Switch is not much as well. That's cool. No much errors. So this is going to be as any, which is fine for now. It's going to be default accent color. Which is also correct. So this is going to be the text area. Yeah, this shouldn't have much errors actually. So just have for the style should be this, which doesn't fix it. All right, multi-line is true for the text field. The style complains that style props. Now I understand why. Question: do we have red on Radis colors? I think we have. If I go to the card, we have the red color. Let me go to badge. No, we don't have red. We have the crimson color. So technically, we don't have red as a color. We have red. Yes, we do. So that means all the colors have not been implemented then. Okay, so yeah, basically we've done all of this. Still going to keep working, but this is where I'm going to end this today because yeah, it's the year we just keep working in the background, and I don't want to do all this. I just wanted to finish with this. Then, in the next episode, I'm going to be of this. It's going to be a more um a more fixed code. You guys are going to see a more fixed code or a better looking code base than this. And that means I will have resolved all the little issues that you see here before the next one. So consider subscribing so you see that as well. So you can get notified on when that video is coming out. It's going to come out in a few hours time, but then I don't know when exactly. So just for you to get notified, please leave a like and subscribe so you get notified on when that is going to happen. Yeah, so that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining. Appreciate your time here. And also feel free to check the other project I've worked on if you want to learn something also cool and see how to build or how I build other cool stuff also. I really appreciate that as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you guys in the next one. Few hours. I don't know when. So yeah, get notified so when that's going to happen. All right, guys. Bye for now. Catch you in the next one.